The very first question has how many terms? It has 3 terms, right? All right, everybody stay with me. So if it has 3 terms, what do we look for? Greatest common factor, GCF. Perfect. All right, so what number goes into 22, 14, and 18? 2. Perfect. All right, what letters do they, what letters do they have in common? X and Y. X to what power? 3. Y to the 4. Perfect. All right, Jared, so if I take a 2x to the 3rd, y to the 4th out of this first term, what do I have left?
11x to y 3.
Perfect. All right, Britton, if I take a 2x to the 3rd, y to the 4th out of this second term, what would I have left? That's 14 divided by 2. Uh-huh. Perfect. Very nice. All right, and Jonathan, if I took a 2x to the 3rd, y to the 4th out of this third term, what would be left there? Yeah, very nice. Okay, the problem with number 2, which is not on your phone, is that how many terms do they have? 4, so we would do grouping, right? But the thing is, they don't have anything in common. But I don't think that some of y'all realize, through the day I've been realizing this.
There's 2 groups that do have things in common.
Yeah.
X squared,
Uh-huh.
AX,
Yeah.
BX, and AB.
You are the first person all day that has seen that without me having to prompt you. Very good job. Very good job. So you could rewrite it as x squared. And it doesn't matter how you rewrite it as long as you take the sign, okay? So you could either put the AX, the negative AX, or the negative BX. It doesn't matter. They'll both work out the same way, okay? Which one do y'all want to use?
Negative AX.
All right, so we'll use that one. As long as you take that negative with it, it doesn't matter. And what 2 are left?
AB and
Plus AB.
There you go. Perfect. As long as you take those signs, it's perfectly legal, okay? All right, so then we're going to group it and keep that plus sign with that AB. And what do those first 2 terms have in common?
X.
There you go. So that leaves you with x minus a. Yeah? And minus, yeah. We're going to take this plus sign out. And what do these back 2 have in common?
B.
They have a b. Who is that? That's Miguel. Somebody let Miguel in. So it's a minus x, okay? Miguel, the new math workshops are on the table, baby, okay? All right, now, they're not the same, but they're almost the same, right? They're just backwards. This one's x minus a, this one's a minus x. So how could I rewrite this one so that they're in the same order?
Negative B. No.
Wait, too many people were saying something at the same time. Say that again.
Would you change the B to a negative?
We're getting there. First, let's just rewrite this.
It would be like X.
Oh. That is not an x. That's a...
Do it above a negative 1.
Hold on, y'all. So many of y'all are talking at the same time. What kind of x would this be? Negative x.
And you need to be a positive.
And a positive a. There you go. All right. And then Danielle will do that next, okay? But if you can see it, you can go ahead and do it, though. Remember, it's perfectly legal as long as you take the signs with everybody, okay? And then remember, we can't have a leading negative. So Danielle was telling us we need to take this negative out here to the front. So instead of a positive b, it'll be a negative b. And then we just change all the signs. Look at y'all. Y'all did a really good job on this one. Everybody's kind of struggled with this one today. Now they're the same, right? Okay, so we're going to do x minus a and x minus b. And let's say that you're on an ACT or a math workshop test. What could you do to this guy now to check to make sure it's the same thing? Well, what's the fancy word for distribute? FOIL, there you go. And you'll get back the same answers, they just may be in a little different order. Juju? What? Okay, alright. Alright, now number 3. Here we go, guys. Number 3 is the factoring problem that always gets everybody. When you got a 5 in the middle and a 6 on the outside, it's always the one that messes you up, okay? So let's tackle it, and we're going to tell it not to mess us up. 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. They both give you 5. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 6 minus 1 is 5. But which one is the one that multiplies to be negative 6? 6 and 1. How? 6 6 minus 1. Very good, very good. What if this had been a positive 6? What would I use then? You'd use 2 and 3. Very good. What if this had been a negative 5 and a negative 6? What would you use? What if it was this? Negative 5 and negative 6. What would you use then? Not 2 and 3. Because it would give you the negative 5, but it wouldn't give you the negative 6. Very good. You do negative 6 plus 1. What if it was negative 5 and positive 6? Very good. Negative 2 and negative 3. So there are 4 different combinations. So just remember, when it's a 5 and a 6, just be really careful, okay? Because that's the one that they can go a lot of different ways. All right, number 4 has 2 terms, but it doesn't have a GCF. So how did we do it then? No, this only has 2 terms. What do you notice about these 2 guys? There you go. They're perfect squares. There you go. All right, now you got to do them in the order that they give you. What is the square root of 16m squared? 4 what? M. There you go. And what signs would multiply to be a negative? Negative and positive. There you go. And then what's the square root of 225? 15. There you go. You got to know those perfect squares, okay? All right, last one. Last one. Here we go. How many terms does it have? 4. So we're going to group it. And what do the first 2 have in common? X to the 4, which would leave you with x plus 7y cubed. We're going to take that negative sign out. What do these 2 in the back have in common? Negative 2, xy. There you go. And what's negative 8 divided by negative 2? Yeah, you took out the x, you took out one of your y's. And 14 divided by negative 2 is negative 7. Could we have rearranged anything any differently? Doesn't look like it. Did I get the same thing? So what did we call it?
Prime.
We called it prime. Don't call it no solution. There is a difference, okay? All right, y'all okay with that? All right, so we are going to do ACT problems, but let's talk about ACT because when we were doing this Saturday, it made me realize that I don't think I've really given you a whole lot of strategies, which is a shame on me. So let's talk about one strategy. And they call it picking a letter of the day, right? So you've heard the terminology of always pick C or something like that. Okay, it's because if you don't know how to do these 2 problems, it's better to guess and have a 20% chance than to just leave it blank and have a 0% chance, right? But it's an even better probability instead of Christmas treeing it. You know what Christmas tree means? You go through and you just randomly pick answers, right? Okay, you have a better probability to pick the same letter every single time instead of Christmas treeing it, okay? So if you don't know how to do 20 problems, then all 20 of those answers better have that same letter. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, now you have A, B, C, D, and E. You have 5 answer choices. When you go into the test, always pick the same letter. It doesn't matter what letter. Just pick any letter. Do you have a letter in your head? A, B, C, D, or E? Got one? Okay, here we go. So you're going to do 17 and you're going to do 18. But what happens if you have just exhausted all of your resources and you do not know how to do 17? What should you do? Pick your letter, whatever letter you picked, right? Okay, what happens if you exhausted all of your resources and you don't know how to do 18? Pick your same letter, right? Does that make sense to everybody? You have a greater probability of picking the same answer every single time than if you were to pick different answers. So if we're doing 2 problems, how long do we have? 2 minutes. Don't start yet. Don't cheat, okay? Y'all know the drill. Does anybody need a minute to find their stuff? Because it's been about 2 weeks. Do you not have them in your own?
Yeah, I think I left it.
Okay, find a piece of paper. Okay. And I'll slide it up a little bit so you can see it. There you go. That way you can see all of them. Okay. All right. Anybody else need a minute? If you can't find it, just grab a piece of paper. You can see both of them on the board right there. Okay. All right. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. 2 minutes. 17 and 18. 17 and 18. Right. Here we go. What we're going to do from here is we are going to take the opportunity to get caught up from Friday if we did not already. And then we are going to review tomorrow and we will have our test on Wednesday, okay? So we're on page 9. And I do have your homeworks to give back to you, and I do have your quizzes to hand back to you, and they will be in the computer this afternoon. But let's go over this real quick, okay? So if you didn't watch the video from Friday, that's cool. You can watch it in just a minute. But let's make sure we all know how to set up number 3. You're going to make a matrix from all of your numbers with your letters. So what are the 3 numbers with your first row? 5 what? -5 and +5. There you go. All right, what about the second row?
5, -5, 0.
5, your Y is 0. Your Z is -5. What about your third row?
0, 5,
0.
There you go. 0 is the X that you're missing. 5 is your Y, and 10 is your Z. Very good job. All right, then you did your letter matrix, X, Y, Z. And then it equals what your systems equal. What are your systems equal?
10, 5, 0.
There you go. All right, what was the only operation that we did not learn how to do? We did not learn division, right? So normally you have multiplication, right? And so how would you get this matrix to the other side? Normally. You would divide, right? But we didn't do division for matrices because it won't work.
You just took it over and did like you did the inverse.
We did the inverse, which right above that we learned how to take the inverse. Very good. From Friday, So you need to take the inverse of this matrix to the other side. What did the inverse symbol look like if you watched the video already from Friday? X to the -1. Very good job, okay? So what you would do is you would type both of those matrices in, just like we always do. So that'd be 3 by 3. You're going to type your second one in. Is that okay so far? And then hit second quit to get back to your main screen once you get those typed in. All right, and which one are we going to find the inverse of? The first one, right? The 3 by 3. So you go to your matrix, and we did the 3 by 3 in A, so you hit enter. You tell it to find the inverse, and hit enter. And it's okay that it's decimals. I don't care about that because I'm not finished yet. Then you need to tell your calculator multiply, because it's going to take your answer and multiply by matrix B. Wait, that's not right. Oh, did I type a number in wrong? I typed a number in wrong somewhere. Hold on. Oh, there it is. It's a 0. There's a 5. There we go. That's what it was. Hold on. There we go.
I did it together and it got some answer. Does it matter the order?
It does matter the order. As long as you do the inverse one first,
Yeah,
then it's fine.
The A, the inverse, and then times B.
Yep, if you do it backwards, though, if you do B and then times the inverse of the other one, it'll give you an error. So as long as you do that in the order, okay? All right, now, we could use those decimals if we wanted to, but just to practice, because on 1 through 4, you're going to get, like, crazy decimals, like 0.33333 repeating, right? So how did we make our calculator give me this as a fraction?
Then we go to math.
You hit math. Don't clear anything. You hit math.
Math and fraction.
There you go, the very first one. So your calculator says, hey, do you want me to take that answer and make it a fraction? And you're like, yeah, that's what I want you to do. So you hit enter. And you get 5/4, -1/2, and 1/4. Are y'all okay? All right, so here's how you write your answer. You ready? You write your answer as matrix XYZ is equal to matrix 5/4, -1/2, and 1/4. Okay, does that make sense? All right, if you haven't gotten caught up from Friday, first thing you need to do, bless you, first thing you need to do is get caught up from the video on Friday, okay? Page 7. Yeah, page 7 and page 9, right? You need to get caught up with that first. If you are caught up with everything, then we're going to work on 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to give you the answers because I'm not worried about that. I'm worried that you can be able to do it on your own in your calculator, okay? By the way, there's 2 reasons why you get not possible on 5 and 6. Can anybody give me one reason why you would get not possible? Or why you would get an error in your calculator? What's one reason you would get an error in your calculator for 5 and 6, guys?
Because 2 of the things, don't they like...
How does it not have an inverse? Do you remember? Look back. Do you have the notes for 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Because,
What were you dividing by on number 1? What are they all over?
1.
No, they're not all over 1. They're all over what number?
3.
They're all over 3, so you're dividing by 3, right? What about number 3? What were they all over? 19, so you're dividing by what? 19, so what would you divide by that would give you that would not give you an inverse? By 0. There you go. What else could give you an error in your calculator? What else could give you an error in your calculator? You could have an operator error, right? What does that mean? You plug something in wrong, okay? So if you get an error in your calculator, one of two reasons you get an error. Either your inverse doesn't exist because you divided by 0, or you type something in wrong. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so let's try 4, 5, and 6, and let's get caught up from Friday. If you need to get caught up from Friday, which there's several of us that need to get caught up from Friday, if you didn't do that already. And then I'm going to hand back homework. I'm going to hand back your quizzes. We can go ahead and get started on our study guides, which is on page 10 and 11. And then we'll review all day tomorrow, and then we'll test on Wednesday. Y'all okay? Get it got it good? All right. If you want to work with somebody, go ahead and work with somebody. Yes, sir.
On 3.
Yeah?
0.
Because what letter are you missing? And you can't just skip it. You gotta have that 0 there as a placeholder. Because the x's all have to line up. All this whole column right here are all your x values. This x value was 5. This x value was 5. This didn't have an x, so that's 0. The whole second column are all your y values. They all have to line up. So this first one was -5. This one didn't have a y, that's why it's 0. And this y value is +5. Then all your z's have to line up on the third one. Does that make sense? Okay. Otherwise, your calculator doesn't know how to do it. All right, so we're plugging in our calculators for 4, 5, and 6, making sure we know how to do that. We're getting caught up from Friday as well. Yes. Yes.